EU leaders took a firm stance towards the US on its decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. MEPs debated how the EU will cut greenhouse gas emissions to meet its Paris climate deal commitments. They also gave their go-ahead to a clearer energy efficiency labelling system and a public database. And the EU celebrated 30 years of success for the Erasmus student exchange programme. Hello and welcome to our roundup of European Parliament's latest plenary session here in Strasbourg. Let's begin with climate change. Rewind to December 2015. Back then, in Paris, 195 countries agreed to put the world on a path towards avoiding dangerous climate change by limiting global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. They did so by signing up to the Paris Agreement on climate change. Fast forward now to June this year, when US President Donald Trump shocked the world by announcing that the US would be pulling out of the agreement. Invited as a special guest to address MEPs in plenary, the President of the Marshall Islands, Hilda Heine, issued a stark warning about the consequences of inadequate climate action.
One of my first acts as President was to declare a state of disaster because of an unseasonal and prolonged drought. We had less than 3 weeks of fresh water left. At the very same time, we were on high alert for widespread inundation. Climate change is not a hoax. Unless the world keeps its promise to pursue efforts to limit global temperature rise to no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, my country and others like Tuvalu and Kiribati risk becoming completely uninhabitable before the century ends.
Donald Trump has said that he wants to renegotiate another climate deal. But European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker had a clear message for the US President and for the world.
We will not allow the denial of the very few to be the end of the days of the Marshall Islands. The abandonment of Paris by the US administration will not mean the end of the agreement. I am convinced that it will make the rest of the world more united and determined to work towards the full implementation of the Paris Agreement. The European Union will not renegotiate the Paris Agreement.
EPP Group Chairman Manfred Weber called for a factual debate on climate change and underlined the EU's determination to maintain its leadership role here.
Die großen amerikanischen Universitäten Harvard, Stanford, Georgetown, Yale und sogar 82% der amerikanischen Bürger bringen zum Ausdruck, dass für sie klar ist, dass Klimawandel eine Realität ist. Und deswegen begeht Donald Trump mit dieser Entscheidung einen großen, einen historischen Fehler. America First ist Egoismus. America First ist bezogen auf Abbruch von Beziehungen. Vielleicht sollten wir dem ein Europe First entgegenstellen. Und das Europe First ist der Ansatz von Partnerschaft, von Miteinander, von gemeinsam Probleme lösen wollen.
In a related issue, MEPs debated how EU countries can meet the commitments they signed up to in the Paris deal. Regardless of what the US does, the EU is pressing on with its commitments under the Paris climate deal. Central to this is for the EU to work out how binding annual greenhouse gas emissions reductions targets can be met in different sectors of the economy. Speaking in plenary, the EPP Group spokesperson on this issue, Pilar Ayuso, explained more.
Dentro de las propuestas del paquete de cambio climático, esta se refiere al esfuerzo que tienen que hacer los sectores llamados difusos, la agricultura, el transporte y la construcción, los edificios, que van a tener que reducir un 30% de sus emisiones respecto a las de 2005.
Also in plenary, the EU's Commissioner for Climate Action and Energy, Miguel Arias Cañete, spoke about the Commission's proposal and underlined the EU's determination to fulfil its climate change commitments.
This is an important initiative to accelerate the low-carbon transition of key sectors of the economy in Europe, representing around 60% of the European Union total emissions. Emissions in this sector, outside the emission trading, are increasing again, notably in the transport sector.
Next, a shake-up of energy efficiency labelling rules. MEPs approved clearer rules for the energy efficiency labelling of household appliances and a public database so that consumers can easily make energy efficiency comparisons between products. The new rules will help bring down people's energy bills and also benefit the environment. Herbert Royal, the EPP Group spokesperson on the issue, set out his view in plenary.
Also Energiesparen wollen wir alle. Und der Weg, das über die Information der Bürger zu machen, dass Verbraucher sich selber ein Urteil erlauben können und dann entscheiden, das Gerät zu kaufen, das weniger Energie verbraucht, halte ich für einen sehr klugen, richtigen Weg.
And finally, celebrating 30 years of the Erasmus Student Exchange Programme. Erasmus, a student exchange programme that has helped over 9 million young Europeans gain the skills to lead independent and fulfilling lives. Former Erasmus students from all over Europe and MEPs attended celebrations in the European Parliament marking 30 years of the Erasmus Student Exchange Programme. Manfred Weber, chairman of the EPP Group, explained what Erasmus means for Europe.
Hundreds of thousands of young people enjoyed to be in another country, to see how different and how beautiful, how diverse the European Union is. And they understood better that they are not only Germans, French, Italians, they are Europeans. And that is a big success story.
He went on to set out his view of the future benefits of Erasmus.
Europe is a continent of innovation. We need good ideas for the future, for being competitive on a global level. And that's why we need good ideas. And the advantage in Europe is that we have different cultures, different ways to develop things. And that you can learn when you do Erasmus, when you go to other cities, to other places in Europe.
So that's it for the June Strasbourg session. Find out more about the activities of the largest political force in the European Parliament by checking out eppgroup.eu. Thanks for watching and see you next time.